been feeling just a little bit low. Got to get back to the show and we'll fly. Yeah. You don't have to feel like you're on your own. No one should have to dance alone, not tonight. For somebody to make memories in the bank forever in time. There's no reason to be hard to find, 'cause we've already lost our mind. You and me, we're gonna write a little history. You and me, just show me love and then you'll see. That we make, they are never gonna fade for a lifetime. We
MRAC. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone watching this stream. I have to repeat several times during the streams. No keys for you in this stream. So if you're looking for key to get your T22 lockbox keys, then check out the stream on the EU server later, and for the Asia server, Wargaming in the social media got the date wrong. It should be tomorrow, not today. So let's look at professionals round 12 and 13. Tonight is going to be a huge battle for top 8, and we are all here for this. I'm going to hype people a lot. Let's hope that going to have the best commentary delivered tonight, and if things go to a certain way, we might even see tomorrow being the decider, whereby I am tasked to follow ID versus GB. So hoping that GB could pull through tonight, and maybe they are able to get into top 4 in the end, but that will require lots of huge determination from GB, huge effort from them. It's going to be more than just Berlin's 1 minute pep talks. Berlin would definitely receive credits if he's able to bring GB to top 4 after a very slow start for them. So let's actually look at professionals tournament format. I think, but I think you all know the format here, so we'll talk more about the tiebreaker. So, for those of you who are wondering what will happen when there is a tie between 2 or even or more clans with the same number of game points or just points, of game wins or points, then here is the order to decide the tiebreak. I've inquired Sirius to double check number 1. Rule of the tiebreaker. So first of all, we will consider the head-to-head battles and the total score for these battles. So that means for example, if ID and G and HLV are tied with the are tied with the same number of points, then it will be we will consider whether ID has beaten HLV 2 times, or is it just one time each. If it's 1 time each, I am asking Wargaming whether they will consider the number of matches lost in that matchup. So for example, if ID has lost 6 battles and HLV has lost 5 battles, so would that count as oh, actually no. For example, 4-3 and 4-2. 4-3, 4-2. So that means if let's actually go to the let's go to this table for quick view. So ID versus HLV, they have won 4-3. Yes, so that means HLV has won 4 matches and ID has won 4 has won 4 matches. HLV won 3. So if HLV beats ID with a bigger scoreline, for example 4-2, that means ID only have won 6 matches and HLV won 7 matches. So that will put HLV through to the tiebreak ahead of ID in this tiebreak situation. The number of victories earned by teams in all rounds. will be considered next if, for example, both teams have beaten one another with the same scoreline. Then we will consider the total number of victories earned by teams in all rounds. So, example. Oh my god. Yep. For example, if the example we talked about, we will take a look at the match wins, total number of match wins, and this is provided by this leaderboard here. You can see this leaderboard. Currently, HLV has more match wins than ID, so that will put HLV through then instead of ID. Right, so you understand what's going on. And the total duration of head-to-head battle will be considered next if the number of victories earned by teams in all rounds are equal, and if the total duration of all battles are the same, then we will hold a playoff, and this is going to be really unlikely, but it's not out of the question. If there are 3 teams, so the same order applies. So first of all, head-to-head battles and the total score of these battles. For example, if we are seeing ID, HLV, and GB with the same number of points, then let's look at the table here. ID has won HLV and GB twice in the first stage, and the second stage. We will have to find out whether ID has won against GB and HLV. As for GB and HLV, GB has lost to both ID and HLV, so HLV has won against GB and lost to ID. So that means ID will be ahead of HLV and then GB, so the order will be ID, HLV, and GB. If these 3 clans have the same number of points or game wins. No keys. Once again, I have to repeat, there are no keys for this stream, so if you want keys, check out later on my EU stream specific to this. Hello, Poogie. So going back, if there are 4 clans, let's say RN, ID, HLV, and GB, which is highly unlikely. So let's take a look. So RN has won against ID, has won against ID, HLV, and also GB, but they lost to GB. They won against HLV and ID. So that means they have 5 wins. So that will put them very high up in the table, and then ID has lost to RN, so we know 3 twice. So they only have 3 wins in this matchup. HLV only has 2, and GB has 2. So this means so the order will be ID, RN, and will be RN, ID, and then we will consider HLV and GB next, where there's going to be a total. It could be total. I think it will go down to total match wins, and for that, I don't think WoTB will consider going back to just singling out ID and GB and also HLV, so we will go to the total number of match wins. So this situation, HLV has more match wins than GB, then HLV will be ahead of GB in this tiebreak. So the order will become RN, ID, HLV, and GB in the exact order we are seeing right now. Alright. So, if you're very confused on what's happening, I don't think we'll get to the point whereby we will see 4 teams with the same number of points. So let's continue. Round 12, we will be seeing Vibrance, Oasis Palms, Camp Steer, and Desert Sands. Round 30, we have Middleburg, Vineyards, Yukon, and Bladgoville. Looking at the timeline, today is going to be the second last day, so 1 more day to go, and we're free, and we will have decided the top 4 for the Asia server. And the Blitz Asia Cup is going to be really fun to watch, and the first game will be held in around 6 minutes, and the second game 3 minutes past 8 in Hong Kong time. That's approximately an hour later. Do note that there is a 5-minute delay on this stream. That means the time written here is exactly when the tournament matches start. However, they will be broadcast 5 minutes later to prevent teams from stream sniping. Okay, so teams are not allowed to know what the other team is doing, basically. So they can't fetch the information from my stream about the enemy positioning and also what tanks the enemy take. So this is going to be GV's roster. We're going with Berlin as the captain of the team. And then we have Professor Tokyo, Nubedge, Ho Chi Minh, Doha, Seoul, Nairobi, Barcelona, and Monaco. Looking at HLB, we have 701 as the captain of the team. We also have My Aim No Sense, Bowasoto, which someone asked whether he is Portuguese. I know that HLB is Japanese, so I think it's unlikely, but anyone from HLB can help me on that. If Bowasoto is actually having roots from Portugal, but I digress. And then we have Koyu that left behind, and Joyce Luki from Abyss, Rush, Livni, and also Salrutsu. Looking at Team ID, it's a Korean team. We have Calvin as the captain of the team, Onyu, Lanny Spartan, Soflan, Percy Game, Object 907, Fresh Lemonade, LDS, and Graham Moxon. Badbox has made the following predictions. They have predicted Feast to win EA 4-3, but I think that could be very unlikely because we heard rumors that EA is now back on the Chinese server, and the last 2 games from them have ended very quickly 0-4. So we could see Feast getting a 3-game win tonight. And we also know that EA is already out in the running for top 4. So that means we could see the scoreline being a lot more dominant than we are seeing than predicted by Mapbox, because Mapbox basically doesn't know what's going on with EA. So so this is the disadvantage using a bot, because you would never know about some of the environmental factors like that cannot be integrated in the calculation. Let's put it this way. But I digress. And then our match, HLV versus GB. We're following HLV tonight versus GB, and then versus ID. So in this hot package, you're going to be able to witness very tight games. Those teams we are following tonight are all fighting for top 4, but they are predicted to lose GB 3-4. E7 is predicted to win RN 4-3, a close one, and ID predicted to win Ho 4-2. And for those of you who want to get the rewards, pause the stream. I don't have a lot of time to speak through. The website is asia.blitz.whatblitz.com or whatblitz.asia, because whatblitz.com will redirect you to the enemy site. So that's the change that you might need to know. But anyway, everything is pretty much described here nicely, so I'm not going to spend too much time. Pause the stream if you want to take a look. If you're watching from YouTube, you will not get any rewards, so yes. Finally, donations. If you want to donate to my stream, here are the methods that you could donate to my stream, to me, and hopefully. Let's also look at the fixtures tonight. We have Feast vs EA. We have gone through that already. So looking at the table here, currently Feast and E7 are already through to the Blitz Asia Cup, so tonight's merely them training for the top 4 of the Blitz Asia Cup. I am aware that E7, there are a couple of people there unable to participate in the Blitz Asia Cup because of the face cam requirement, so that could mean E7, they might be a bit weaker than the first stage, where they were very, very dominant. Hello everyone, and what you're going to be seeing right now, if RN wins the match against the game against E7, they are through to the top 4, because even if HLV wins, I mean, there are 2 more games in this situation. RN has won HLV twice, so even if RN and HLV are tied the same number of points, RN will beat HLV in the tie break, so potentially we could see RN going through after tonight. So, going through after this game. But let's quickly go to the game we're going to watch right now. We're on My Ruins, HLV versus GB. And we're seeing HLV going for triple AMX 50Bs, an IS4 and IS7, a mouse, and biggest light. Going for GB with an AMX 50B, a double IS7, double M6CO mouse, and a T22. So once again, if you're wondering what this stream is, it's a tournament stream. It's not a key stream, so you won't get keys here. So no keys for you. Absolutely, don't spam where are my keys in the chat, or otherwise I will totally ignore you. We're looking at GB, looking to get a bit aggressive over to A, and HLV has put those AMX 50Bs looking to shut down NupH, but there are 2 bounces, and NupH has been punished for trying to go into A. But it could have gone a lot worse. The 50Bs bouncing 3 of the shells onto NupH. In this situation, NupH would have been dead already. And then Joy Soluki also took some hits. So GV looking to get a bit more aggressive. HLV is tasked to defend, but Sarusu getting C might not be a good idea, because now GB knows that they might have a numerical advantage over here, and they really want to take those tanks out, left behind, potentially to push the focus for GB. HLV really pushing pulling the line backwards, and AMX 50B are struggling to stay in cover, to be honest with you now. The hit points are in favor of HLV, and now Sarutsu is coming from behind potentially to shut down GB, but I'm not sure what Sarutsu is trying to do here. GB, their push has been halted. And we are now seeing Boa sort of coming from behind, looking for one of the tanks here. It will be Tokyo. Tokyo down to 1 shot, and will be taken out by Sarutsu. It is the case. Now Berlin and Ho Chi Minh's definitely trapped by HLV's forces, but with left behind now dead. Ho Chi Minh's going to be the next focus for HLV, and GB really struggling a lot, and I'm not sure what happened there. The mediums really not making use. The mediums are pretty much playing like a heavy here, and they're not branching out, sadly, and that means GB is struggling to get a win from this big push here. Now we're seeing Professor, the next tank potentially going down. GB once again off to a lackluster start, especially the play with the T22, which I really don't understand why the T22 went along with the heavies, because just HLV just defended really nicely, just soaking everything. Just like a cotton, like a cotton bud, soaking everything in. Yeah, those micellar water, something like that. And pretty much what GB is like makeup, and not makeup. Sorry. Well, that doesn't make any sense at all. Sorry. But looking at HLV, 4 tanks doing more than 2k, and GB, 2 tanks doing more than 2k. I mean, GB is not okay. I think this is going to be a better analogy. Just GB is acting like oil, acting like water instead of oil onto HLV, trying to be a cotton bud, because cotton bud can absorb water, not oil. HLV absorbed it well, and they pretty much didn't quite dissolve, but GB just, that push really didn't break down HLV at all. HLV is very resolute in this one, and credits to HLV, but GB, definitely the T22. If you are playing like a heavy, then I would really go against taking a T22, because really the T22 is there to kind of get information and try to go around the map, not trying to go with the heavies, which sometimes we see that with the Asia teams. Hopefully that will change in this match, and HLV leading 1-0 so far. Frozen is worried about my health. Oh gosh, thank you for asking. I think I'm fine. And hopefully we get more views and oh. And here we go. HLV versus GB, HLV triple MX 50Bs. We all know that HLV loves their 50Bs, and why do they not love their 50Bs? You might why do they love 50Bs so much? A good reason why teams take a lot of take 50Bs. Well, the armor might be very bad, but the clip potential is good. I mean, the DPM is also one of the highest in for a heavy tank clipper, if not all the clippers. So let's so the triple 50Bs can be very deadly when these three tanks can work together well, and it's all down to communication from HLV. But let's see about HLV. Let's follow Sarutsu here this time, with Monaco trying to play over to the seaside. Sarutsu got a bit ambitious here. Spot up, Monaco took a hit. It's not the end of the world for now, although this is not our end. We're seeing Rush in the IS-7 and Sorte looking to put a shot into into maybe the air, I don't know, knocking down palm trees, but I don't think you can knock down palm trees on my ruins, so I think WoTB just does not have enough budget to fix those palm trees. I mean, they spend too much money on fixing palm trees on desert sands. But we could see GB make a big push over to C, with From Abyss taking a bit of hit here. And now we're going to be seeing HLV receiving the pressure from GB, but From Abyss trying to run away. And will Professor land a big HE shot at the backside of From Abyss. Great first shot, double tap onto From Abyss. Oh, now HLV are down by more than 2,000 hit points. Seems GB has pressed well. HLV, on the other hand, they might want to make a push over to the middle side. GB is now overloading these tanks here. The 50Bs are struggling to survive. But looking at those triple 50Bs, looking to unleash entire clip onto Ho Chi Minh, and it will be the case. The 50Bs have killed a tank. The 701 is leading the charge right now. And HLV are still struggling to rush through the middle, and I think that could be the downfall of HLV here. But they share the hit points really well. Looking at that, I mean, 5 tanks pretty much equal in hit points, and with the gun advantage they possess is now 7 versus 5. This can be big for HLV. Looking at those 50Bs, I mean, how good have they done with the hit point push sharing? Look at this. The HLV's tanks are still all alive, like 7 versus 3. What's amazing thing we're seeing right here, I mean, a lot of one-shots, obviously. Sarutsu is being killed. Rushes the next tank down. Doha looking to kill off lap behind. The 701 stare. Sorte is now down. And 701 kills off Doha. And Joy Solo Q would not long fulfill this world because Monaco is there to kill. And Joy Solo Q, but land a max roll into Monaco from Abyss. Will kill off Monaco, and that means Berlin is the last person standing. Amazing comeback from HLV. And I have to say, this is probably the best hit point push sharing I've ever seen in the top team, for the top team. I mean, I've never seen such beautiful hit point push sharing, and HLV really deserves credit for this, and they are really fighting hard for a top 4 spot. And I think I will be very gutted if HLV doesn't get top 4 in the end. This is exceptionally beautiful. Berlin, the last person standing, I don't think he can do a lot here. Keys, no. Berlin is trying to get the tanks out, although all 3 tanks are actually one-shots. So HLV, I mean, they've done very well to reduce the hit point per deficit. I mean, at one point almost 3,000 hit points of hit point per deficit. But with HLV, 3 tanks still alive, and also they have the mobile 50Bs. Some 50Bs done a really good job. That's some insane communication right there from HLV. But HLV 701 is trying to run away. Can Berlin land a shot on 701? No, and it will not be the case. Jai say GB really bad this season. Not sure what happened to GB this season. They were. This is probably the worst season this year for GB. I admit, to be honest with you, which I think usually GB starts off really slow, and then they will get very good in the end. But so we haven't seen GB, we haven't seen glimpses of, I mean, we see glimpses of greatness from GB, but it wasn't persistent. And looking at Berlin, really very slow in that mouse. I mean, all HLV needs to do is to get all 3 caps, and it could get very low. I think. So HLV looking to win by all caps, and I don't think Berlin is able to get all A, B, and C. Within, I mean, looking at 15 cap points per 2 seconds of increase, we're just talking about around 15 more seconds to go. So. Or maybe 10 now. So Berlin cannot teleport, so you can't get 3 caps within 10 seconds. I mean, getting a cap will require more. Will require like 5 to 6 seconds, so you can't do that. So unfortunately, GB will succumb to another defeat, and I have to say, HLV, that was wild. That was amazing game. Yeah. Well done to HLV. 3 caps, 1,000 cap points. Hit point pool sharing was done. Was done absolutely wondrously. And I don't know. This is really beautiful. This is top notch gameplay from HLV. Although they didn't really start well, to be honest with you. But the hit point pool sharing is something that a lot of clans would dream about. This level of communication, the top teams would be drooling, seeing how these tanks have shared hit points really well. GB, I think, inability to focus fire and kill off those one shots will probably be their downfall. It's probably their downfall here. 5 tanks doing more than 2k, and also HLV 5 tanks doing more than 2k. And we're now onto Oasis Palms, now 2-0 for HLV now. And this is such an important win for HLV as well. Now, GB will be feeling the pressure if GB loses. They're still in the they will still be in the running, and it all depends on whether ID has won against RN or not. They still could get into top 4. This is getting really unlikely. So if ID won against Ho, I mean, looking at the tiebreaker, HLV won against GB the first time. If they win against GB for the second time, that means GB, we could see them tonight. In this game, they will get knocked out. Okay, so now we're on to Oasis Palms. Actually, I'll be going with double 50Bs of France, a double IS7, M60, and VK9.0 on P. GB, we're seeing triple M60, a Vickers Light, a Mouse, a 50B, and an IS7. So Oasis Palms is quite a different map. It's a lot more open, and it's bigger. In hindsight, I mean, there are not a lot of out of bounds area or places that you can't go in because of the buildings and so on. So I'm a bit worried HRV taking no mediums or lights with Monaco being in that mediums. I mean in that only Vickers light. I do say Monaco really needs to get his effect to HLV. Split up with Sarutsu and 701 and enjoy solo queue. We'll be running away now that he gone really aggressive to get his spots in, and that gamble paid off. But GB knows where HLV is going, so they're going to set up exactly what they want to deny HLV of a cap advantage, and HLV will be forced to make a rotation. And we are now seeing potentially HLV with the 50Bs trying to rotate away without getting spotted, and it seems they aren't getting spotted while rotating away. GB is also having Monaco here. I do favor GB in this situation. And spotted. Oh, enjoy solo queue, missing that shot onto Monaco. I think Monaco spotted up HLB rotating to the desert side. So are they going to get aggressive into A? They can do that, and I think they are trying to make a push. I think that would be a great call from GV. This is the power of the Vickers Light right now, with the C being captured, and GV needs to get these tanks out of the way. Huge chance for GV. They really need Ball Sortie. They will look at Ball Sortie, and they will need to get Ball Sortie out of the way, but Berlin, that was a huge nerf. Their shot wasn't what Berlin wants to be, but Ball Sortie now getting heavily smacked. But GV's Wolves is the first tank down. And Monaco is really doing his job right now. Left behind is trying to run away, but he's running into GV's forces pretty much. And now look at how GV's like cat and mouse here. Left behind, I mean, you might be Jerry, but if there are 4 toms, then you can't win against 4 toms pretty much. Or maybe not, because Jerry always wins Tom. So we are seeing GV looking to get left behind out of the way. And we're now seeing HLV currently 6 versus 7. Tokyo looking to land that shot. Oh, it's a bounce! Tokyo needs to get a shot onto left behind. It will be the case. 7-0-1 is now dead, and Berlin will be killed. Now it's going to be 4 versus 6. And GV is leading by a lot of hit points, and that push was a great push. And was a great call. And this is... Well, this is GV. Let's consider it to be the first game of GV. I mean, this is more like GV. Rush is now killed, and with Sarutsu now, that's now going to be 2 versus 6. GV is definitely saying game on. Berlin's pep talk is not going to. I mean, it's not lame at all. I mean, at the end of the day, GV is known to be the clan that does big comebacks. And we could see now Enjoy Solo Q being taken out by Doha. I mean GB now getting a game back, and HLV, I think them not using a medium of light really cost them really put them in a tough situation. And Monaco is so important in this match, splitting up the rotation from HLV, and GB knows there are still some tanks near A, and I think HLV should have pushed those just move the tanks backwards because they were so close to GV's setup, and that rotation pretty much wore HLV thin here. And GV was able to take out those double IS-7s very quickly, and because GV has taken 2 tanks out already, with HLV only able to take out Berlin at a much later time, it's just a bit too difficult for HLV to win here. Now 2-1, GV, really great job here, and they are going to keep Monaco in the Vickers Light, and this is I mean, he has done a great job in the Vickers Light the last match, although I don't think he has done a lot of damage, but getting that crucial information for GV to elicit a push, that is what we call the checkmate move here. And HLV now going for... They're now going to take a Vickers Light. They know that they're not taking any mediums or lights at all. It really hurt them. Now, it's going to be a fight between Sarutsu and Monaco. Sarutsu's taking the Vickers Light this time. And here we go. HLV from this, and enjoys a triple M6Os, double IS-7 by Ball Sortie, and that behind 770 VK 90.01p. And GV going with triple M6O, an IS-7, the Vickers Light, a mouse, and a 50B. Yes, I agree with Legacy. They're still one of the best clans on the Asia server. That we do not disagree. Even though I think they have the worst season this year, they're still a very decent team. They performed at the highest level. So, and there we go. For those of you who are wondering why there is no timer, maybe that's because you're not because I forgot to switch the screen inside the scenes. Maybe not. Well, let's look at Sarutsu in the Vickers Light, looking to get the spots up for HLV and GV. Now they're going back to A, but Monaco this time going a bit more defensive in the Vickers Light. But we have seen tanks being spotted for Sortie, and also Sarutsu trying to get a cap lead for HLV this time. With A going to be captured by GB. And now we're seeing Doha in the M60. GB is pressing. GB is trying to press onto HLV, applying pressure. And they got A, so that means they just need one kill to flip the cap points back to the favor with Sarutsu going to get even deeper into the lesser side. Jai is saying, don't jinx GV. You didn't. So let's see, Monaco spotted, Sarutsu spotted, and Professor. Oh, bounce, and still spotted. Let's see, Sarutsu's trying to go away. He's trying to run away from here. We are still seeing HLB still holding. They just need to hold. GB has dropped some hit points, but this is not really too important at the moment. Hit points still neck and neck. HLB is playing really broadly at the moment, and we're now seeing Nubbage take the hit, but 7 no as well. It's still very close. GB still figuring out how to rotate, but they don't have to panic. They just have to be patient. We're still talking about 5 cap points per 2 seconds of increase, so that so we're talking about around 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. Quick maths, or 1 minute and a half, because I kind of approximated that to be 600 cap points. We love to do approximations before they absolutely have to make a boost. So absolutely 1 minute, but they're getting impatient. They're looking to make a move onto HLV, or they're trying to press onto HLV once again. Oh, but this time I think GB has found the weakness in HLV's positioning. HLV potentially showing the using a vertical straight line against GB's forces, but they have stopped pushing for really odd reasons, and that leaves Berlin on his own pretty much. Oh, but we might not be seeing that now. Ho Chi Minh's coming from the other side, but no, they're going to let Berlin to do this all their own. But this is going to be the GB's trying to get someone out of the way, and this could be big. And Berlin needs to stay alive, but Ho Chi Minh could get focused by HLV. This is still really close to call, but GB is trying to get ball sorted out of the way as well. There are so many fights happening on every angle. We could see the 50Bs trying to get ball sorted out of the way, but ball sorted bounces a few shells already, and Berlin still holding on. But Doha coming in to support Berlin, killing off left behind. But now the hit points are in favor of GB, with Rush going to be focused down by Rush, with Ball Sorte now being killed by Tokyo. But Doha gets the focus from HLB's forces, will be taken out. Now they're trying to make a counter push onto Berlin here. Berlin down to a 2-shot potentially. HLB really looking to get a focus fight in, but there are 4 tanks onto just 1 single tank, and Vickers Light just going straight past Berlin here. With B being captured, cap points are still in favor of HLB. The hit points are still very close, and you never know what's going to happen next. With 7-0-1-0 down, Professor and Berlin being taken out simultaneously, A would be captured by Sarutsu, so HLB is trying to retain the cap point advantage, and Sarutsu will get A. Monaco down to 1-shots, and here we go, A and C both captured by HLV. Nubbage looking to get in, but it's a 4 versus 3 right now. HLV leading by lots of hit points here, and GB, they would need more than a miracle to win this one, but I don't think that will be possible. HLV 1,000 cap points, and they will get their the third victory of tonight, and they're now on match point. And if they win against GB, that will essentially knock GB out of top 4 contention, and GB could be duly punished for their terribly slow start to the campaign, the professionals tournament. Now, HLV, it cannot go on till right now. We are on to Camp Steer, and I believe GB, they looked very confused into figuring out how to sort out with the focus fire priority. If I were GV, I would have definitely supported Berlin, because HLV at that time, you could see from GV's perspective, HLV is showing a vertical straight line, so GB definitely has the advantage of focusing down the isolated tanks. However, they went for our tanks instead. VK90.01p, that was a good kill right here, but I think they should have ignored the IS-7 down in the gully, because that kind of drew GV's forces out of the fight, and HLV was able to regroup after they were caught not defending in a good formation. Now, Camstia, let's see. Match point. Can GV make a comeback here? HLV very close to securing a crucial game win, and putting them closer to the top 4. No keys for you in Ultimate. Lag behind. An HLV with a TD, not something that I see often. But let's see what's going on. What's going to happen? Cab steer. Campy. Well, we're seeing double IS-4, an IS-7, double M60, 268, and biggest light. We go for GV 50B, double IS-7, triple M60, and biggest light. And we could see HLV looking to push down the river. Oh, left behind, spotted up Tokyo. But left behind might not be able to have enough gun depression. Tokyo is not able to push into this area here, so GB would not get that kind of advantage. HLV really denying that. GB, what's their plan B here? Could see GB looking to get B, but Enjoy Q is approaching this slowly. Monaco now looking to get B here, but Sarutsu spots it. Oh wow, GV working that crossfire really well. Sarutsu is going to be unable to reset B, and looking at Enjoy Q there, reverse side scraping. This is, we have shown this before while we analyze matches. So glad that HLB trying to work with the reverse side scraping. IS-4 is an interesting choice. Usually it's a medium tank, but IS-4 was able to get into this corner, into this area more quickly because Monaco hesitated in going to B. Now the hit points are still in favor of GB because Sarutsu took a lot of hits while trying to reset B. So this is the problem you might run into. Oh, ball sortie. Great shot to Berlin. Berlin might be trapped. And if HLV is able to perma-trap Berlin, oh, Berlin might not be able to get away here. And looking at Berlin, still getting shot at. Oh, great shot to Professor by Ball Sorte. Now, GB is dropping quite some hit points here. And originally, their hit point pool lead has been diminished. Because HLV put some really great shots onto Berlin. The Professor now it's evens, and both teams still has not got a cap. This is what we call cap steer. Like both teams are not able to get any cap at all. I mean, looking at HLV, they're defending in every single angle to prevent GB from capturing A, B, and C, and GB as well. They're preventing HLV to get A, B, and C as oh, 7 of those sports that get shot by GB. Although GB also took some hits. And, I mean, they're all trialing, obviously, because the teams we're streaming tonight are all fighting for top 4. Yeah, so we are streaming HLV versus GB here, and the next match, it will be HLV versus ID. All of them are still fighting for the top 4 spot. At the moment here, HLV and GB both holding Doha spotted in the M60. We don't know what's going to happen. We still only have 4 minutes to go. Well, while we're doing that, let's go to, do a tour guide about the Camstia. So, for those of you who enjoy nature and want to take a look at the beautiful scenic spots of Camstia, you have these really beautiful mountains. I know my graphics are bad, but why not spend a day and go hiking near those mountains and camp there? Set up a good campfire, do some good picnic, and you can see from a very high view the very small rustic city of Camstia. But I digress. With left behind, try to swim in the river. We do see people swimming in that river. It gets polluted from time to time, but it dilutes itself really quickly because Wargaming has paid a lot of money to purify the river here, so the river looks very clean every single time. So we can all thank Wargaming for purifying this beautiful river, and we could see more actions going on with Enjoy Solo Queue getting some more shots. So only 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. Our GB trying to plan a push near A. And this is typical Camstia, like both teams know A, B, and C, and they're still figuring out how to push. And we could go into 2 minutes left to go. GB still the hit point advantage. And if I continue the tour guide, here are the hostels you could go and you know, stay. And if you're spiritual, there's a church right here, the church bell. They hold services every Sunday. Obviously, that's what all churches do. And left behind gets a bit more hits here. So GB really pushing hard. But if you want to enjoy a beautiful taquillas on Camstia, go to the distillery here. Some really high quality taquillas you can enjoy on Camstia, and the high street. This is the high street. Some really popular and also local brands of Camstia. And now A can be captured by Nutbase. It's the first time we are seeing a cap being captured. And HLB now trying to make a push over to C as well. 3 versus 2. I think GB might be in trouble here. I don't know. But only 1 minute left to go. 1 minute left to go. Caps can be very important. Kills can be even more important now. Ho Chi Minh down to 1 shot. If Ho Chi Minh is killed, Boa Sorte would give HLV the cap lead. And Doha is now on a drop reload. Doha could go down as well, but left behind is now dead. And it's now going to be a 6 versus 6. Only 45 seconds to go. Enjoy Solo could try to get me, but I don't think that will be successful. GB needs another kill. But Boa Sorte is now dead, so it's now 5 versus 6. GB looking very good for winning. Doha is now dead as well. So it's now 5 versus 5. Hit points neck and neck, but GB has A. And finally, HLB has B. And they're trying to get C as well, but 23 seconds to go. If they can capture C, can they get the cap win? I don't know. Professor is going to kill Enjoy Solo Queue. He can't afford to bounce that shot, and the Professor will kill off Enjoy Solo Queue. Now it's going to be a 4 versus 4, but Berlin is now dead. It's now only 5 more seconds to go. GB, if they can survive a bit longer, 2 seconds, and it's going to be GB with the win. Oh my goodness me, what a final minute we are seeing here. Oh my goodness me. Oh my gosh. GB getting A was so important, and I mean it went down to the wire. It was so chaotic. This is typical Camstia for you. It's a map that you can see both teams use all the 7 minutes, and we are now back on Camstia. No keys on the stream. Remember, no keys on the stream. And GB got one back. GB is mounting a big comeback like they always do. Hello. What a match. What a match. HLB, that really put us on the edge of our seats. So this is top-notch stuff. And now we're going back to Camstia Fest once again. A campy game. And I mean, say all 7 minutes used. We'll talk more about what you could expect. Where you can explore on Camp Steer. I hope you're not talking about me. I mean, I hold GB to a high regard, and they really Oh, it's the same person that called GB Rain Netto. Well, anyway. Anyway. HLV going for now, double I7, double M60, T125, Kron, and a Vickers Light with GB going for double I7, double, no triple M60, Vickers Light, and VFTP. Winter Force, I'd say. I'm trying really hard to distract you from the camping, yes. And now we're going to be seeing HLV trying to get a bit. Okay, this is going to get a bit more aggressive. This could go. This could end very quickly, or maybe not. At the moment, it's just both teams holding on, and Ball Sorte looking to get into C. This time, we're seeing a cap being captured very early in the game. So that will probably not go to a campy fest. Oh, reset shots from Professor. That can be important, but we're seeing GB also losing some hit points for that move. But Ball Sorte getting out of this. It's still going to be a good move. It could be good timing though. But Ho Chi Minh ready to land the shells onto Ball Sorte. Berlin almost there. Oh, the double track. Oh, Ball Sorte is now perma-track pretty much. And will be taking a lot of hits from GB. GB doing a great job tracking Ball Sorte. Ball Sorte will be pretty much smashing his iPad, and that shot really didn't help at all. And Ball Sorte will be killed by GB, or is it not? So they really need to get their shells in. Ball Sorte, I am so sorry, but GB still bounces on Ball Sorte. I mean, they wasted so many shells on Ball Sorte, but the wasted shells won't matter too much. However, the hit points are still neck and neck. But HLV got A, we missed that completely, so it's really slow A from the grasps of GB, so that means GB would still need to make a rotation, but it also lost some hit points with Tokyo and also Berlin. We'll pass it. They will be back in 2 minutes. The battle is finally some action. Great. Now A could be captured by GB. They're trying to deny HLV getting a hit point, put a cap point advantage near A. So going back and forth, this could actually once again both teams using all 7 minutes, but left behind, getting absolutely taken out. Down to one shot now. GB now really trying to get the tanks out of the way. They got left behind out here. We completely missed that once again. And with GB now pressing onto A as well. Now HLV needs to make that push onto Ho Chi Minh and Doha. They really need to be aggressive here because they are under a hit point disadvantage, and these 3 tanks are horrendously isolated at the moment. Sarutsu coming in for the support, looking to kill off Ho Chi Minh. And it's a bounce, however, and HLV now down by almost 3,000 hit points, and they really need to get Doha and Ho Chi Minh out of the way, but it's taken them so much time to do so. Sarutsu is going to, Doha is fully reloaded, kills off, enjoys the kill. Sarutsu kills off Doha, but now down to one shot. They're looking for Berlin next, but Tokyo is also a bit low. And Sarutsu will not be long for this one. Berlin's looking to kill off Sarutsu here, and will be the case. It will be the case, and it's now going to be a 3 versus 5. GB leading by more than 4,000, even 5,000 hit points. They are looking to get Frumbis out of the way. And now with Frumbis now down, Livni also down. Now it's going to be 771 the last person standing. What a win from GB, taking out both left behind and ball sorting proves to be very important, I believe. HLV hates Camstia. They just hate Camstia. And we're going to a tiebreaker now. This is going to get fascinating. This is going to decide the fates of both teams. Their top 8 fates. What a game, what a match. HLV 2 tanks doing 1-2K and GB 5 tanks doing 1-2K. Berlin's pack talk coming in full force. Are they on the brink of doing another huge comeback? Again, how many comebacks have GB done? I can't count. It's definitely more than the number of fingers on both of my hands. But GB, if they can win against HLV, this is going to be another big comeback. Another comeback that will be written in the history books, and one that is of a lot of significance as well when we're talking about the fight for top 4. And HLV, they lose on desert sands. It's all about brawling here. GB seems to be doing well with the brawls. Then HLV, their top 4 hopes will be on the line, and they can't just rely on winning ID here. They need to also rely on ID slipping up at this point. No, that's just T. Feast has won EA 4 once, at least EA played some matches. And then we have E7 versus RN. E7 versus RN, it ends E7 4-0 to RN. Oh my goodness me, that is really ruthless. And now we're seeing, oh, ID barely winning against Ho 4-3. Yeah, we can still say Ho can be very proud of what they have achieved in the professional tournament. They've come really close to some of the clans here. Now it's almost there. Ho only 2 game wins at the moment. There we go. HLV, red team from the same spawn. And we're going to be seeing Sarutsu in the biggest light spawning up Monaco. It's all nothing for GB now. HLV, they're very close to securing a point, but they definitely would not want to lose while having the 3-1 advantage. But Monaco took a hit, Livni also took a hit there as well. It's going to be HLV unable to cross over to rails because GB has tanks over there. Left behind, great shot to Ho Chi Minh. But GB might have the map control here. They're looking to get A. This is looking good for GB at the moment, but they don't have the hit point pool lead, however. Now HLV rotating to the city here. But Wasorte is left alone in this area, so he will be very important. He will take a lot of responsibility overlooking at what GB's trying to do over to the desert side. And Sarutsu will be getting C. So far, both teams hit points neck and neck. The cap points, GB would have more than 80 cap point advantage, so HLV would require more than just a kill to flip it to their favor. Ho Chi Minh Sports receives the shots from HLV at the moment here. A lap behind is still holding in this area. And good shots onto Doha. And HLV really getting their hit point pull it here. And this could be tough for GB. Although we know all the time defending City is really difficult. So we could see HLV, especially when I think that HLV, this is not part of their plan. I could see HLV struggling a bit. GB, it's pretty much what they're doing is pretty much in their plan. So all they need to do is to get a good push, is to get a really good solid push. And they should have it. But it's going to be more than just that. Both teams have already dropped some hit points. Let's look at Sarutsu here. There we go. Novich takes a hit here. I kind of missed that. Do I think it's a big throw for HRV for not moving while their I7 was dying? I think it could be. I mean, they should have made a move. I think that would be a good call. If there's something's dying, someone is dying, you're not making a move, then you're losing your hit point advantage. So I do agree with that. But they also chip hit points away from GV, so actually the hit points you saw was really close still, so it wasn't really the losing move here. But already we are now seeing GV have chipped enough hit points away from HLV, so the hit points are now in advantage of GV. HLV trying to make a push. Left behind is going to receive a low pressure, but Nobich is going to receive a lot of shots from the 50Bs and will be taken out. The focus fire from HLV now. This is going to get really, really close. And the next time we're going to be seeing will be Professor looking. Oh, but left behind is now dead. So the mouse is going to be dead. And it's now going to be 6 vs 6. HLV, the front members could die because he's still kind of out in the open. Will be killed by Berlin. A huge kill from GV. And they're looking to get Tokyo next. Sarutsu pretty much still far from where most of the rest of the HLV forces are. Warsaw could be the next tank down. It will be the case with Tokyo now dead. Ho Chi Minh could be the next tank out as well. And it will be the case. Now it's 4 vs 4. And it's still anyone's game to call. And the hit was still very close. Sarutsu is trying to run around. And with HLV looking to get the focus onto Doha, GV needs to group up, needs to form a good horizontal string. And so far, HLV has found a good way to isolate tanks of GV. Now, HLV and Josuke could go down soon, but Doha as well. Sevenson cannot afford to bounce the shell, but Sevenson will divert the attention to Professor potentially, and Aceman Cap stopped. But it seems HLV is now losing this brawl. With Livni potentially next time down, Professor needs to be taken out, and this could turn into 3 vs 2 now. Livni down to 1 shot and cannot put the last shell in, and GV still has the hit point pool advantage, still has the cap advantage, and HLV would need more than a miracle to win this dance now. 7-7-1-0. It's going to be focused down by both Monaco and also Berlin here. And Monaco is tracked, and 7-7-1-0 looking to get that nice shot onto Monaco. Now Monaco down to 1 shot. Sarusu really needed to land that shot in, but 7-7-1-0 is now dead. Sarusu bounced that shot onto Monaco. Monaco, can he kill Sarutsu? Can he kill Sarutsu? It's Loro, and Monaco is killed, and it's left for Berlin. Berlin really shooting to the sky right now. All he needs to do is to save GV 975. They have more cap points. All they need to do is to survive Sarutsu. HLV will lose this tiebreaker, and GV won it 4-3. I mean, they start slow once again. They always do. Down at 1.13, they made a huge comeback yet once again. How many comebacks have GB made in professional in the high level tournaments? I can't count, but this is yet another signature comeback from GB. 4 tanks doing more than 2k here, and HLV also 4 tanks doing more than 2k. And there we go. GV has got an important point, and we will also see the top 4 now. GV now tied with HLV, the 5th with the same number of game wins. Wow, and that is really the battle for top 4 we are expecting here, because now we don't have a lot of time left, so we can't analyze. So now that GB has won HLV 4-3, what's the Hepon Poorly I ideally want before making a push? 2000 would be a good lead. Below that is going to be kind of a gamble, unless you know that you have the numerical advantage and go for it. However, anything like within the 2000 hit points of within the 2000 hit points of gap, I think it will be a gamble. It could work out really well or not. It will depend on whether the other team has defended well. So now it's going to be HLV versus ID. That is going to be so damning. And here we go. So for now, all 4 clans are still. I mean, we cannot say any clan here has. Well, actually, well, no, any clan here has not. Well, let's actually do a tiebreak here. I mean, well, potentially we could see if both RN and ID lose. I mean, in the final 2 games, which is entirely possible, RN can lose to Feast, and RN, they will play against EA next. They lose to EA and Feast, and ID lose to HLV and also GB. Oh boy, oh boy. But the really good thing to see is that at least 6 clans have won 30 matches already, so that's a really good number. I mean, on the East we almost have like 7 clans winning 30 matches, so that's also a good number. That goes on to show that a lot of these clans here, most of the clans here are very good clans. The thing is, we could get into the position whereby HLV and GB won their remaining 2 games, and HLV needs to beat Feast in the next one. HLV needs to beat ID. Okay, so let's do something here. Let's see if RN, ID, HLV, and GB all got 7 game wins. So let's see what's going to happen here. RN have won against have won GB, HLV, and ID. They have won HLV and also ID, so they have won 5 games, and they have lost 1. So 5-1 for RN. So just remember that 5 for RN. ID, they have won. GB, HLV lost to RN once, and if they lose to both HLV and GB, so that's going to be 2-3, and they also lose to RN, so 2-4 in this situation. If HLV and GB loses to ID, both HLV and GB loses. If both HLV and GB win against ID, then it's 2-4 for ID. So 2 for ID. GB, they have won against HLV once. If they win against ID, so that brings it to 2, and they won against RN3. So GB lost to ID, RN, and also HLV for the first stage. So that brings it to 3-3 for GB. Finally, we have HLV. HLV, they have one. If they win against ID, that brings it to 1 and lose 1, and they lost to GB as we saw. So 1-2, and they won GB. They lost to RD and IN. So that's 2-4. So if RN, GB, HLV, and ID are tied with the same number of points, we will see RN and GB through to the top 4. Meanwhile, HLV and ID would be out of top 4. Bear that in mind, we have 4 clans under the same number of game wins, and this is the same we could see. However, if we only see RN, ID, and HLV tied with the same number of game wins, but just bear with me, just bear with me. Same number of game wins, we're seeing RN, ID, and also HLV. So RN won against HLV and ID. They also won against HLV and ID. So that's going to be 4. Yes, 4. 4 wins for RN. So it will depend on ID and HLV. So ID, they lost to RN. Okay, so it goes down to RN, HLV and ID. So HLV 3-4 and HLV. In this situation, I'm not sure if Wargaming will go and see whether it's whether we will see if HLV win the bigger margin and will give it to HLV. But either way, if HLV is tied with the same number of game wins, potentially, it will be HLV going through, because HLV has more match wins and they win 2 games and they have 8 wins guaranteed, and ID, whatever margin they lost to, they will be below HLV in the number of match wins. So in this way, ID will be out. So so for 4 clans under the same number of game wins, we will see RN and GB through to the top 4. If it's RN, ID, and HLV tied to the same number of game wins, RN and HLV will be through. If RN, ID, and GB are tied to the same number of game wins, let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so RN. Okay, RN. RN has won HLV and has won against GB once, so that's 3-1 for that. GB, considering they have won against ID, because we're talking about RN, ID, and GB, so 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 3-3. So GB 3-3, RN. RN, okay, GB 2-2, RN 3-1, and ID 1-3 potentially, I think. That will put ID lose 1, lose 2, lose 3. Yes, that will be 1-3 for ID. So under the scenario of RN, ID, and GB, RN and GB will be through. Let's look at RN, HLV, and GB. So I presume, well, that would not happen because both HLV and GB has to win all their matches. So ID would definitely have to win all of their remaining matches. So that would not happen. This scenario will happen whereby RN, HLV, GB tied with the same number of points. That would not happen. Same goes to ID, HLV, and G. Oh, ID, HLV, and GB. That is possible if RN loses all their remaining matches, but that would be we will see 4 clans in the same number of games. Oh, maybe RN wins one of them. What will happen? Let's see about ID, HLV, and GB. Which clan will go through? ID won GB and HLV twice. I think there is a room soon, so we go into the room while we continue to work out. This is really mind-boggling. I have to say, really, it's really confusing. ID, RN, HLV, RN 3, so at least 3, and they lose 1. Yeah, so 5. No, we don't talk about RN, ID, HLV, and GB. ID 2-2 situation. GB 2-2 also, and HLV will go to 2-2 as well. So that means if ID, HLV, and GB are tied with the same number of game wins, we will take a look at the match wins. But HLV will be through because they have to win all their matches, so that will guarantee HLV. That will put HLV to the top 4, and that would mean RN and HLV are through if ID, HLV, and GB have the same number of game wins. So whatever scenario it is, ID must win a match. Otherwise, if they lose all their 2 matches, chances are they will get knocked out. We haven't even talked about 2 clans with the same number of game wins. So yeah. So once again, if we are talking about RN, ID, HLV, GB, same number of game wins, RN, GB are through. RN, ID, and GB, it's going to be RN and GB. RN, ID, HLV, RN, and HLV. And then ID, HLV, and GB, HLV will be through. So in whatever scenario it is, if ID loses the 2 remaining games, ID will be knocked out. If RN, I think, would be through, unless we're going to be seeing a tiebreak between RN and GB. In this case, GB would go through instead of RN, because GB won 7 matches and GB only won 5, so GB would overcome RN in the tiebreak, so RN are still not through, considering it will be between RN and GB, and in the tiebreaker, and ID have won the matches against HLV, so we haven't seen any clans getting knocked out yet. All 4 clans we're talking about, we're still talking at the moment, they are still in the running for the top 4. ID must win this one. If they lose to HLV and lose to GB tomorrow, they have a high chance of getting knocked out, provided HLV and GB have all won their remaining matches. Wow. So as I repeat once again, if we are seeing a 4-way tiebreaker, RN and GB would be through. And if we're seeing a 3-way tiebreaker between RN, ID, and GB, RN and GB are through. Okay, so GB can still be through in 2 of the scenarios. So GB still in the running. So once again, 4-way tie. You can double check while you pause the stream and do the calculations. RN and GB would have more head-to-head wins than ID and HLV, because RN won 4 and lose 2, GB won 3 and lose 3 in this scenario. I mean, GB will win all their remaining matches if they have to go through, and that will include beating ID as well. So yes, GB is definitely not out. I would have to be more worried about ID if ID loses all their remaining matches. Let's go to Middleburn right now. Let's not delve too long about this. And this is really top four battle. Asia server, you almost disappointed us. I think we all kind of written off Asia server at the start. Like, am I overrating Asia server for the top 4 battle? No. This is the meat. The first stage is pretty much fooled you all, and now we're going to be seeing HLV versus ID. If ID loses this one, their top 4 spot will be in jeopardy. Let's see about Sarutsu looking to go up here. And I think it's like we do see a lot of Asian clans doing it now. Sarutsu briefly going up here, but I don't think he's quite successful getting that spot. Maybe he just goes back down almost immediately, intentionally. With Vembers looking to get C. Let me double check. Where do I have the correct graphics? Yes, I do. Left behind will get B, and C will be captured by ID a split second later, which is really, really close. So Van Persie, and also, I mean, now ID's now pressing hard. They still have this slight hit point pool advantage, and HLV, red team from the south spawn. Let's see what's gonna happen here. Campen. Oh, Campen's gonna get aggressive in the IS4. HLV pretty much spawn basing. Campen would not be happy about this if HLV makes a counter push. What is Campen doing? Oh dear, stop. HLV now looking to make a counter push. This could go really well for Campen, or it's going to go really bad. But the moment the ID capitalizes on HLV being hesitant, we could see a big brawl coming in. 5 versus 3 at the moment now, and I needs to come in with those LDS again, but the focus now onto Spartan Sword. Oh, but we'll see HLV, those bounces could be very costly, however, and from Abyss will be taken up by Lanny's now. 6 versus 7 at Livni. We're putting some great shows onto Spartan Sword right now. And 7710 in the AMX50B receives a shot from Spartan Sword. Now it's going to be a 4 versus 7. Borsov is now dead. 7010 is now dead as well. Spartan's also now dead. The hit points are a huge favor of ID at the moment. Looking at the ID swarming into the M60s, and Livni's on fire, dropping hit points. And now down to 1 shot. Oh, a game that was not a good HE shell onto Livni here. It's just only a splash. And here we go. Livni down to 1 shot. And Joycello kill would be killed. And Game will be able to kill off Livni. 2 versus 6 right now. With left behind now dead. Sarutsu is trying to run away from the onslaught of ID. And ID really marching into Sarutsu. They would take an important first match win here, and they really needed that to secure the spot in the top 4. Big HE shell on Sarutsu. Sarutsu is now down to a 1 shot now. Will be killed by LDS. Oh, what a game it is. And here we go. HLV. 1 tag to 1 and 2K and ID. Wow, that was some really good damage sharing there. Very close. 7 tags to 1 and 2K. We don't see that often, but when we see that, this is a good sign that all the tanks of ID are very important. That is always a good thing to see. All the tanks are important. And good hippo push sharing, good focus fire as well. HLV 1.5 versus 3. I'm not sure how they managed not to take out a tank that quickly. I think a lot of bounces have cost that. Cost them the game as well. I mean, HLV, they're looking very hesitant now, and I don't think this is going to be a good sign for their top 4 hopes. And now we're going to be seeing HLV, triple M60Os, double I7, a Vicus Light, lap behind mouse, ID. We're seeing IS4, triple IS7, double M60O, and Lanny 50B. And I haven't said about what if ID wins. that at least one clan would not, at least we won't see a 3-way tie or 4-way tie. It will go down to a 2-way tie. As I said, if we are seeing RN and GB tied, GB would go through instead of RN. If RN tied with HLV, RN would go through instead of GB. If GB tied with HLV, well, GB would go through instead of HLV. Okay, will GB make it? Will GB make it? We'll see about this Middelburg now. Different tax probably, but as I say, Feast is already through to the top 4, so not sure they will try. Well, they definitely will try very hard, but GB will feel more pressure. I don't think they will definitely lose to Feast. There's still a chance. Who knows? Yes, I agree with Wolfhard. Who knows? GB could absolutely surprise Feast here. Mathematically speaking, and as we said about the scenarios, GB still has a chance. Let's see about Sarutsu going to spot up ID's tanks going onto the hillside. Oh, and he will be captured by left behind here. We are seeing Cats. Well, the Cats is not an Indonesian clan. I think you confused it with RI, but anyway. ID would not have a cat lead this time. HLV got A more quickly than than ID. I'm sorry to say. Let's see about Lanny here, trying to get spots for ID. And with C looking to be captured by ID, HLV looking to get reset shots, but what is Campen? Oh, Campen, oh my gosh, you are par, what are you doing? Crossing and took a lot of hits in doing so. But what ID is trying to do, they're trying to press HLV hard. It worked for them last time, but it worked for them this time. Camel Ray dropped so many hit points in that pressing. ID, they're looking to get Enjoy Solo Kill out of the way, but this aggressive push run, ID HLV needs to get a response to this. But left behind is going up slowly. Enjoy Solo Kill is trying to pull back as much as he could, trying to go back into the room here. But I think now Enjoy Solo Kill is down to 2 shots. You can't really go back any further. So now HLV is trying to go in to support Enjoy Solo Kill. Nifty trying to get the shield for Enjoy Solo Kill, but LD is really working the crossfire. Enjoy Solo Kill with the first tag down, but ID already down by more than 2,000 hit points. HLV now looking to get a counter push onto Van Persie, and also Spartan, so we are seeing left behind the mouse going up already. Great shot into Lanny, but HLV really needs to get that focus fire in. Van Persie, it's the focus fire. HLV really slacking with the focus fire. They need to get that in. But ID also they need to get that focus fire to say as well. It gets really messy now. Livni is now dead, and Lanny now in the 50B. Great kill onto from Abyss. Now Van Persie is going to divert his, going to rotate out of this. And ID looks to get 7-7-1 now out of the way. Spartan Sword is now dead. Gain is now dead. It's now 4 versus 4. Van Persie is now down to 1 shot. HLV really needs to group up. They still have a strong hit point advantage, but LDS and Lanny could get 7-7-1 soon. 7-7-1 on a drum reload. Sarutsu coming into the backside of LDS. And still really close. Great HE shell onto LDS. Trying to drive away now. Left behind very slow in that mouse. Great shot to Lanny now. Refresh nominate now down to Borsalty. Borsalty needs to get Van Persie out of the way here. But Sarutsu could absolutely come from behind and take out Van Persie. But Sarutsu has been stopped by LDS, but Sarutsu got LDS out of the way. This is so important. Lanny now coming in to support Van Persie. Borsalty bounces onto Van Persie, however, and Lanny will kill Borsalty. Now it's going to be a 2 versus 2. Hitpoints now neck and neck. I don't know. Oh, hello, Castle. How are you doing? I haven't seen you for a really long time on my stream, but this is not a key stream. And now see left behind in the mouse, treading slowly. And Sarutsu in biggest light. Lanny spotted Van Persie spotted. Let's see about left behind. Putting shots into. Oh, it's a miss there. Left behind misses Van Persie. And Nani's looking for Sarutsu. They're trying to do the walls. They're waltzing around this obstacle, but HLV has the cap. They are now banking on winning through kills. But Lanny could land a shot on Sarutsu. A great shot here. Tracks Sarutsu and will land a shot to kill Sarutsu now. Left behind is now the last person standing. He has to survive. This is going to get really close, really intense. And Sarutsu stopping for a moment while waltzing around Lanny. I think that is going to cost them a lot. It could cost them the game even. I don't know what's going to happen next, but 2 versus 1. We're talking about 2 cap and 5 cap points per 2 seconds of increase, so that means, doing the maths, 130 more seconds to go, cap points to go. We are talking about 52 more seconds to go, but that was a great kill onto Van Persie, left behind, down to 1 shot right now. Lanny, if he can push a shot into left behind, or 2. Oh no, what is that? HE shell onto Lanny. Oh, left behind needs to rely on the bounces here, but Lanny could kill off left behind here. Lanny will kill off left behind and making it 2-0. Oh, Sarutsu, what have you done? In the Vegas light. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, HLV. They could have won it, but Sarutsu threw that away pretty much. I got a bit too overconfident waltzing around Lanny when Sarutsu stopped, but that was a very rectangular obstacle there. Even though Sarutsu has better mobility than Lanny was able to come in from the back just in time to land a track shell onto Sarutsu. Yes, left behind might have killed Van Persie, but it was not enough. HLV. Ooh, this is really a bad. This is really not a match they will be happy about. They're now down 0-2. This could essentially end any chances of HLV in getting top 4, maybe not. We will have to. Well, it will essentially end HLV's hopes in the top 4 if they lose to ID here, as we spoke about earlier. If HLV is tied with the same number of well, they would not be tied with the same number of cups as RN here, and they would definitely be out because both ID and RN have 7 game wins. If HLV loses against ID, they are out of top 4 contention. So for now, it's going to be 2-0 for ID. But this is now getting really tense. I forgot to change the scoreline. I'm very sorry about this. I'm just getting a bit distracted now. This has been updated. We are now on the Vineyards. It's a totally different map. This is a lot more open. It's like Oasis Palms, but it's even more open than that. So what can we expect here now? HLV taking a back chat, double IS7, double 50B, and IS1 and M60 ID. Triple IS7, double M60 and 50B, and a bigger slide. Yes, DD, I agree with you. GB has a chance, but no realistic chance unless they beat Feast. Then we will start talking. Okay, also if RN wins their matches, then obviously they... I mean, if ID win and RN win, then that would essentially end any chances of both HLV and GB going through to the top 4. So now A will be captured by Sarutsu and Ball Sorte. Once again, HLV has a cap lead. Last time they got cap lead, they almost utilized that cap lead, but really down to the individual mistake of Sarutsu. And Thresh Laminate will capture C. That would bring ID within a kill away from flipping. And Joyce will Q. Oh. Misses onto the rock. The rock is not ID. Dwayne Johnson is not ID. Dwayne Johnson is not ID. So anyway. We could see Ball Sorte And the IS7 looking to be aggressive near B. Shots onto game right now. And more shots onto game here as well. We're now seeing fresh lemonade. Oh, shots onto camper right now. So at the moment, it's still very close to call. HLV with a slight hit point advantage, and they haven't dropped any hit points yet. So that's going to be important to late game stages. With ID now pressing bit. They're trying to find a way to chip away hit points for HLV. We're seeing at the moment still 5 cap points per 2 seconds of increase. So once again, do the maths. Blah blah blah. It's going to be around 80. 1 minute to go for ID. 1 minute to go before ID absolutely needs to make a rotation. And Joy solo kill. LDS. Oh, HLB has done a great job chipping away a lot of hit points of LDS. LDS got a bit careless here. HLB now this time they're really making use of the cap lead they have, frustrating ID whenever they could. Lanny trying to push out onto lap behind, but that's not going to be possible at the moment. Lanny. Oh, great shot onto lap behind here. And Borsorte receives a hit. And great shot onto camper, but Borsorte could get pushed. But Game and also the rest of the tanks looking to get into B. And I don't know what's going to happen here. We're seeing HLB now holding Lanny could get really low. B is now going to be captured by Game, and with Lanny going to be taken out soon, I don't know. HLB has the hit point pool lead. They might lose a gunso, but they need Lanny out of the way. And Lively almost fully reloaded. This can be anyone's game. Borsorte down to one shot. Fresh lemonade bounces onto Borsorte. That's not good. A game will kill off Borsorte. But left behind is also dead. It's now 5 vs 6. Hit was the huge favor of HLB right now. Lanny still surviving, but Lively could go down to ID. The hit points are now in favor. Cap was in favor of ID now. Lively's now there's now 4 vs 6. The gun advantage could come and haunt HLB here. And they would not want to be in a situation whereby they are down to 0-3. But that was an important kill to Van Persie right here. It's now 4 vs 5. And with Game now dead, that's an important kill from 0-1 now. Lanny one shot, Camper one shot. Essentially, it's 2 vs 4. ID really trying to retain the cap advantage. But C will be captured by HLB as well now. HLB has 2 caps. And they killed off Spartan Sword as well. HLB looking really close to get this win here. And Joy solo kill in that IS4 looking to get Campbell out of the way. He needs to get his kill in. And that kill will give HLB a crucial victory they need. 1-2 for HLB. Oh, wow. Yeah, HLB a bit morally ruined by GB. And here we go, HLB 4 tanks doing more than 2k, and ID only 1 tank doing more than 2k. What a win from HLB it is. Really gave ID a really hard time in the rotation. ID tried really hard to isolate the tanks of HLB. They've done really well on that, but I think dropping 200 hit points at the start cost them the game dearly. And HLB frustrated ID really well, and they really need to continue this momentum. And now it's now 1-2. This is going to be interesting now. RN. They're up against Enix. They have to be TA. There are no other excuses for them. And what's going to happen here? HLB going with a triple IS7s, double 50Bs. A Crown and a Vickers Light going for ID. We're seeing double IS7s, triple M60Os, a Vickers Light, and an LDS in the 50B. This is going to get close. This top 8 fight is what are we waiting for? And I think the first time it's not going to end in an anti-climax. It's going to get really close at the Asia server. Really didn't disappoint with this top 4 fight. Oh my gosh. There we go, Vineyards. We're back on Vineyards. Currently, ID leading 2-1. Oh wow. I'm just going to take a look at my... you still haven't received your key. There we go. Let's head up high and see. HLV, red team from the south spawn with ID blue team from the north spawn looking at Sarutsu with the biggest light. Ooh, in the bush and looking to get... Oh, Lanny spotted. Lefty's shot at. From Abyss is also being shot at. And Sarutsu looking to get shots into Lanny, or is it not? Nope. And left behind coming in. Looking to land a big shot onto Lanny here. Or maybe not. Lanny's now in cover. And 7-7 will receive a hit from Gale now. ID is now pushing that line forward. I've been looking at Game. Glacial to Ball Sortie. Now hit points in huge favor for ID right now. But Game also took hits. But Ball Sortie took a lot of hits here. And Lively as well. HLV is bleeding a lot. Although ID is also bleeding. But they still have the hit point pool advantage. And Campen looking to get into B. But ID now getting more map control, but they're still bleeding. So the hit points are still a bit close. HLV could lose Ball Sortie soon. And I don't know, ID is looking really strong here. Ball Sortie is pretty much alone and isolated. And HLV can't do much to support Ball Sortie now down to one shot. We could see a push coming in from ID. 3 versus 3. That could be a gamble here. Ball Sortie is now dead. And HLV Sarutsu from Abyss would have to receive a push. And HLV would need to get a tank out. This is so far going very good. Very well for ID at the moment. And HLV left behind, still reloading. And HLV looking very isolated, looking very declustered. ID grouping up a lot better here. Left behind is now killed. And we could see 7-7 will know the next tank down potentially. And Joyce Q going to be the focus for ID now. HLV still holding on. 7-7 will know down to a 2-shot potentially. And Livni looking for LDS, and it will be a kill right here. But ID has more than 4,000 hit points advantage. This is surely going to be ID unless HLV is able to work with their focus fire. They have Game out of the way before still very healthy tanks of ID. HLV would really need more than just a miracle to get a comeback. As Sarutsu now being shot at from Abyss, trying to land the shells onto Spartan Sword. And great second shell there. And that's the last shell. They need to get Spartan Sword, but it's not going to be the case. From Abyss is also dead. That's going to be a 2 versus 4 right now. Livni in the 50B. Down to a 1-shot. And will be killed by Livni. And Sarutsu, the last person standing. ID looking to get another win. They are going to get a match point 3-1 potentially. Here we go. Sarutsu is now dead. ID 3-1. HLV looking very, very nervous. And this is what happens when you get very nervous. When the top four is pretty much at stake. HLV is not coping well with the pressure here. And ID 5 tanks doing more than 2k now. HLV 2 tanks doing more than 2k. HLV looking very close to getting eliminated now. If they lose on Yukon in this one, ID are through. HLV are out. Well, we can't say ID are through or not. Also, or ID will be through because whatever happens, GB will not get too much game points. So if ID wins, they are through. If RM wins against EA, they are also through. So it all depends here. G will be praying that ID would lose this one. Both ID and RM would lose, and HLV would somehow make a big comeback here. We know that GB made a comeback before. Can HLV do the same? We will see about RN versus EA. Let's see the results here. We are seeing EA winning against RN. And they're still playing against RN, so it hasn't ended 0-4 yet. It won't end 0-4, but HLV now double 50Bs, double M60O and IS4 and IS7, and Vickers Light ID going for quadruple M60Os, double IS7 and AMX 50B. Yukon. This is going to decide the fate of HLV or even GB. ID. Definitely cannot throw this one away now. They would really need that win. They would really need that win. HLV, loads and loads of pressure. It will either crumble HLV or it will inspire HLV. And I mean, we could see, inspire HLV to bring out their best matches ever. We do see they can do really well. We saw they share their hit points really well against GB. HLV, with the set of tanks they're attacking here, they will be praying they can grind another win against ID. They will be looking for a comeback here. ID, so close, so close. They're looking for both A and C right now. B will be captured by HLV, so it seems HLV will be getting a cap lead here. And they will go into D now. B will be captured by HLV more quickly, and C will be captured by D after, and HLV now is on D. So this is looking like HLV once again, as I always love to say this phrase, once again, getting a cap lead. Really, HLV, it's all about whether they are well prepared in this situation. A high pressure situation. Very sunny here, as you can see. Yukon has always been sunny, but this high pressure is going to either break HLV or is it not going to break HLV? It's going to inspire HLV to make a huge comeback. ID, very close. Just needed one more win. Great shot to Camp and great shot to Fresh Lemonade from Sarutsu as well. But ID still has a hit point pool lead because they have more hit points at the start. HLV needs to still trade better than ID in order to get the lead here. But HLV are doing well near the spawn. And that's Sarutsu's task to spot up ID. If they decided to make a push over to D, ID would have trouble getting into B. So what will ID do? They need to make a rotation, and going into B would be out of question. HLV, they have so many clippers there, it will be pretty much a terrible move from ID. There we go. For Sorte, still there. Oh, misses onto Kampen. Sarutsu potentially could get. Oh, has to be really careful here. Great spot onto Kampen. Will Sarutsu land a shot onto Kampen, or will he stay there? Stealth. Great shot to Kampen. Now Sarutsu could get spotted. Nope, it's not spotted, but I would probably know there's someone there. Oh, they're looking to, they gotta push on to D. But Sarutsu is there to pincer. Spartan Sword and Fresh Lemonade now. HLV left behind, trying to do 1 vs 1 against Game here. Left behind. This is going to be important. Let's look at left behind here. Game fully reloaded. Now trying to Okay, now left behind is trying to go forward because Camp is coming from behind. Camp is now down to 1 shot. ID looks to make a push onto the HLV sporters now. Great shot to Van Persie. And Game's almost fully reloaded. They can take out left behind here. And Joy solo kill now going to be taken out by ID. ID really looking to kill the tanks here of HLV. Camp is dead, and Joy solo kill is dead. An important kill right here. HLV now make a counter push onto Spartan Sword. Spartan Sword running away in that 50B, showing the backside towards HLV. They're looking to capture C as well. So that means HLV will get B, C, and D, and this will put them in a huge advantage in the caps. But they still don't have the hit point advantage, so this is still really close to call. ID could get B at any moment, but HLV would get A because ID might not be able to reset A here. And this is, I don't know, anything can still happen at this point. Balls on the great shot into LDS, and 7-7 is coming from behind. Or maybe not. We're seeing Sarutsu here, looking to get a shot into Game. Gay and HLV would try to get A. No, they're trying to ignore A entirely. They're trying to get all the tanks out of the way. Game is now dead. HLV, 955 cap points. They lose for Sorte. That means HLV will still need another kill. LDS now down to 1 shot, but they kill us by a fire. LDS needs to be killed, but it's not going to be important. HLV 1000 cap points, getting a crucial victory right here. Now 2-3 for HLV. Oh wow. Oh wow. HLV 4 tanks doing more than 2k, ID 3 tanks doing more than 2k. Once again, that push almost worked. HLV was caught once again, almost isolated, but we completely didn't catch HLV, making a surprise counter push from the other side, and that kind of threw ID off guard a little bit, and they also got both A and B. That was so important. That applied a lot of pressure for ID to win by killing all 7 tanks, and HLV coasted through. I think they also have a strong hit point pulley at the end. Now this is going to be important. 3-2 for ID. What is the scoreline for RN against EA? Have RN won against EA? If they won against EA, if they win against EA, that will send RN through to the top 8, and they have won against EA 4-1. And now this means, it will go down to potentially a 3-way tie break here, with EA losing to RN 1-4. This is what we were seeing, and then Feast versus GV. Are they ending the hopes of GV at all? Nope. GV is still in contention. So what's going to happen now? Now RN are surely through to the top 8. So just only one more spot left. As we talked about before, a 3-way tie of ID, GV, and also HLV would mean GV will be through instead of ID or HLV. Essentially HLV are knocked out now, because whatever happens, you could only have a 3-way tie, or not. Actually, no. I'll take that back. If we are seeing a 3-way tie between a 2-way tie between ID and HLV could get it. Actually, I think they lost the first time round, so we'll have to see about that later on. HLV now going into A, with ID also going into B, and from Abyss in the 50B looking to push shots onto Campen now. And so far B's been captured, but was Sorte now getting the aggressive position. Great shot into Van Persie. ID will be getting into A. That will be important. ID looking to seal the deal. Oh, they're getting really aggressive, but they're losing a lot of hit points on that. HLV, great shot to Cabin as well, but the focus fire, HLV might need to get a focus fire in. Game now losing a lot of hit points. From Abyss now fully reloaded. It's a bounce on the Van Persie, however. From Abyss needs to land a shell onto Game. It's going to be a good shot to Game, and Game could be killed here. And looking at HLV, a great counter push right here. 2 tanks down onto ID already. HLV with a huge push coming in. Van Persie could be the next tank down, and this is a great push from HLV coming in. Van Persie now down to 1 shot now, but was Sorte also quite low. ID, that push, oh, I don't think that worked really well. From Abyss will be killed by LDS, but Spartans also get eviscerated, literally so many tanks being killed. This has descended into pandemonium, and Boris Sorte will be killed by Lenny's. Now 4 versus 3. Androsilican's Sarutsu, and some sort of probably the drum reload. They will kill off Campen. The focus fires. Their LDS down to our one shot now. Will be killed by LDS now. HLV now bringing it to a 3-3. 3-3. ID, if they win the next one, will essentially knock both HLV and GV out, whatever the scoreline is for GV against Feast. HLV, huge win against ID, now 3-3. Here we go, HLV 5 tanks doing more than 2k and ID. Only one tank doing more than 2k. Tiebreaker once again, Black Goldville. Oh my gosh. This is pretty much a Group F, Euros Cup. France, Hungary, Germany, and also Portugal, who is going to go through to the next one. This is that level of closeness. However, if GV loses, if we are seeing a two-way tie between ID and also HLV, as we can go back to the lounge, HLV lost to ID first time round 4-3. So that means if HLV wins against ID here, that means it's going to be a 3-3 here. Yes, 3-3. Because HLV so far has more match wins than ID. That would bring ID. That would bring HLV through ahead of ID. So whatever happens here tonight, there is still chance ID, HLV, and GV. There is still chance for either clan here, and GV has won. I think they have won. I think they have won. No, they still haven't won. They are still playing against Feast. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is so close. This is super close. HLV now. Double 50Bs, double IS7, double M60Os, and Vickers Light ID, triple M60Os, double IS7, and E100 and Vickers Light. We know RN are through. We know RN are through. Or what is going to happen here? Black Go View. ID versus HLV. ID winning tomorrow will not be an important stream. HLV winning tomorrow will be such an important stream. Oh my goodness me, I can't fathom. I can't fathom. Like, this is going to be the toughest, this is going to be the most, this is going to be the closest top 4 fight we have ever seen in Blitz, in World of Tanks Blitz history. Asia server didn't disappoint. I predicted top 4 of Asia server is going to be really tight. It is the case, and we are now seeing Sarutsu in the Vickers Light to get spots here. HLV now feeling the momentum. ID. Oh, Sarutsu getting the most important information now. They know where ID is going to go. They're immediately going into B, looking to once again to get a cab lead here. ID looking to go into A, and LDS receives a hit. Great shots from HLV, great stuff from HLV here, but they still need to trade better than ID because Remabis took a hit. A will be captured by ID, but HLV will get C as well. This is going to be the match we are all hoping for. A will be captured. Oh, great shots gained by Borsorte here. Now ID, they either need a good push. I think they can push onto these tanks here. They are not totally close to one another. Sarutsu spotted. Oh no, oh no, oh no. ID, I think, can put a lot of shots onto Sarutsu. Oh, double tap into Sarutsu. Oh, I think Sarutsu will not be happy about this, but great shots Campen. This gamble paid off for Sarutsu. Now, hit puts in favor of HLV. And we go to lap behind momentarily. Oh, shots into Van Persie right now. Oh my goodness me, what is Van Persie doing? Oh dear, oh dear. Fresh Lemonade looking to put shots onto Borsorte. Oh, big shots onto LDS, but onto from Abyss as well. Hit points still really close, but HLV so far leading by 1,000 hit points. Borsorte coming from below. HLV now feeling the momentum here. They have 2 caps. They have a strong hit point pool lead. They can't throw this one away now. Left behind. We can feel the nerves of HLV right now. They are so close. They are so close in winning this one. HLV, they are now losing the hit points. They are now trying to get Van Persie out of the way. Left behind, staying still for a second or two. Getting the important win onto Van Persie. Now, Bulbasaur is now isolated by ID. Bulbasaur needs to stay alive here. HLV more than 800 cap points here. Lanny going in, looking to get Sarutsu out of the way. That's a big kill. Onto Sarutsu now. Hit points in favor of ID. Livni is also down. It's now 5 versus 6. Cap points still in favor of HLV. And HLV really need to get a kill out of the way. Now 7-0 and enjoys the kill, getting the kill onto Lanny, but from Abyss now very, very low cap and getting a cap stop onto C as well. Potentially, we could see both B and C getting captured by ID. Bulbasaur is now dead. Lanny's now down to 1 shot. Lanny will be killed by From Abyss. Left behind is doing 1 versus 1. ID getting all 3 caps. Time is running out for HLV here. They really need to get the tanks out of the way. Can they do it? From Abyss now going to be killed by From Abyss. ID looking strong. ID could get a win. And 7-7-1-0 in the M60. This last minute is going to be so important. This is going to be the last minute, the minute of their lives. HLV needed to get those kills, and Joy Solo kill could get killed, but 7-7-1-0 getting a ram kill onto Fresh Lemonade. Now Game needs to be killed by Game, but it's a bounce. But left behind, a Joy Solo kill will be killed, and ID getting a important win. Oh my goodness me, ID knocking both GV and also HLV out. And what a day it is for both for the top 4 fight of the Asia server. Sadly, HLV would not be able to get a win against ID. We could see ID really doing a great push onto HLV. HLV so close, getting a point onto ID, whatever happens. Feast versus GV. GV against Feast. Feast won GV 4-3, so it was another close one, and we are truly blessed by how close those games are tonight. However, it is going to end in tears. Oh, Ho winning against E7 4-2. Great job to Ho, I have to say. Well done, Ho. It will end in tears for HLV and GV. ID and RN are through to the top 4. I have to say this is going to be the most exciting top 4 fight we have ever seen ever seen. Tomorrow, so tomorrow it will be EA versus Ho. So if Ho wins, then they will get more than 30 match wins. So we will see 7 clans on the Asia server getting more than 30 match wins, and Ho can be very proud of what they have achieved this season. But HLV and GV was on a huge run in trying to get into top 4, but I think only winning 1 game in the first stage proves to be too much for GV to handle this. It's going to be the top 4 for tonight has decided to be Feast, E7, RN, and ID in the top 4. HLV, GV, Ho, and EA will sadly be knocked out. So huge congratulations to Feast, E7, RN, and ID securing a top 4 victory, a top 4 spot. They will be in the Blitz Asia Cup. What a finale it is tonight! Oh my gosh. Oh. I have to say, I can't. I just need to die down a little bit with my excitement. I'm so hungry. Gladly, I have eaten a lot of biscuits before stream, so I can really commentate with a lot of excitement. I agree with you, Wolfhard. HLV is really good at getting caps, but that's about it, pretty much. I agree. Like, we see them really nervous in trying to get those kills out of the way. So thank you very much for watching. And here are the final results. Feast 4-3 GV, essentially denying GV of a top 4 spots. RM 4 against EA, essentially putting RM through to the top 4. HLV losing to ID 3-4, essentially ending any hopes of HLV and GV getting in the top 4. ID are through to the top 4. Ho 4-2 against E7, which is not going to matter a lot, but credits to Ho. They are trying to get 30 match wins, and this is such a huge comeback. I mean, first day they lost 0-4 two times, which we are quite worried that Ho will become the whipping boys of the other 7 clans, but now they've won a lot of matches, which is really good to see. And oh my goodness me. Oh my gosh. Well, let me just brief you through what happened on the Asia server. Okay. Stream is probably done. Winterfell, so close. It was so close. It was tantalizingly close.
I don't understand what they want from me. They take my hands, washing them in dirty water. Try to find what's right in a distant place, so far away. The silence fills my heart with empty space, but now I'm sure of where I'll go from here. And tensions rise, they push me to divert my vision, but I will break the ceiling and the walls that kept me in for all this time. And all the
Alright, so once again, I was just changing up the leaderboard so you can see the changes. So, well, I can do it once again. So what happened tonight? It was so good. I have to just type it out first, and I will talk you through how amazingly close tonight's top 4 has been.
I will do my best to keep myself composed. It takes a lot not to overload. They can't tell me what is right for me. I just need peace of mind and my ability. But no one said that it would be this hard. You can't force it, but you'll play your part. So I will run until I reach the end, and who knows where I'll be. But all I know is that we'll start again. I've got my sights on a brand new beginning. A steady rhythm will hold me to the shore. I've got my sights on a brand new beginning. A steady rhythm will hold me to the shore.
Oof. Oh my goodness me. So just let everything sink in for a moment. Oh my gosh, that was so close. That was so exciting. Thank you. Asia server really did disappoint. Oh my god, what a roller coaster. So, for those of you who have no idea why I'm so excited about tonight, so let me go back to before all the games happened tonight. So this is the table before any games happened tonight. Yep. So at this point, we know that both E7 are through to the top 4. We have to see RNI and HLV and GV which clans will go through. RN are very close to qualifying because in a tiebreak situation against HLV and GV, RN would qualify anyway. So. Well, except GB. GB is not the case because GB won against RN 4-1 and RN won against G 4-3, so GB would qualify ahead of RN a tiebreaker. So this is what happened. This is before anything happened tonight. So I was streaming HLV versus GB, and if GB loses to HLV, that will essentially knock out GB, because in the tiebreak situation, GB would lose to HLV and ID. If HLV, ID, and GB are tied with the same number of game wins, then because GB lost to HLV and ID a lot of times, then GB will be knocked out, essentially ending any chances of GB for making top 4. However, so what happened on my stream is that HLV was leading at 1.31 to GB, and GB, absolutely Berlin, is known for his amazing pep talks, and they're no stranger to making huge comebacks. So what happened is that GB made a comeback to win 4-3. So this is the table after GV's win, and also all the results coming through. ID barely beating Ho 4-3. It could have been even more exciting if Ho wins against ID. And this is the situation when our first games ended. So we talked a long time about what would happen in a lots of different tiebreaker situations. We talked about a 4-way tie will send RN and GB through because RN would do 4-2 and GB would have 3-3, and both ID and HLV would have 2-4. So 2 wins and 4 losses. GB 3 wins and 3 losses. RN with 4 wins and 2 losses. So that will essentially send both RN and GB through to the top 4 if RN and ID both all lost their remaining matches and HLV and GB win their remaining matches. And then we talked about 3-way tie as well. The 3-way tie being RN ID GB, RN ID HLV, and ID HLV GB. RN HLV GB 3-way tie would not be possible because at least because ID will have to lose all their 2 remaining games, and that means it will go back to the 4-way tie as we talked before. So in the 3-way tie there are 3 scenarios: RN, ID, and GB. If it's the case, that will send both RN and GB through to top 4. If it's RN, ID, and HLV, that will send both RN and HLV through. And if we go to a tiebreak or 3-way tie of ID, HLV, GB, assuming RN won at least 1 match, then we can only send 1 clan, and that clan would be GB. So in a lot of situations, GB will be through to the top 4, considering that none of the clans of ID, considering ID lost all their remaining matches, then ID will be out in the 3-way tie. Okay, we didn't talk about a 2-way tie. So a 2-way tie can happen. ID and HLV, we assume that HLV won against ID, then HLV would be through. If it's ID versus GB, because GB won against GB won a loss against ID, so ID has a high chance that they will be through. Unless GB won 4-0 against ID, then it will go to the number of match wins, and in this case, ID ID would have to win a few matches, so this is going to be hard to decide. So it could still be either ID or GB. We're talking about RN and also HLV and GB. So RN, HLV, in this situation, RN would be through in all situations because they have won, except GB. GB would go ahead of RN in the tiebreak, and RN would go ahead of HLV in this tiebreak. So it's really, it's a huge mess, let's put it this way. And yes, this is how close, like if all the 4 clans either could get knocked out, RN could still get knocked out, but only one scenario being that RN and GB are tied with the same number of game wins, then GB would knock out RN, but most of the cases RN are through. And then what happened, we saw tonight, ID leading at 1.31, and we were so nervous about HLV. HLV was so nervous. We could feel the HLV was struggling to win their matches because really, their top 4 hopes are on the line here. We saw a lot of wins from HLV, making use of the cap advantage they have. They try to get caps, and And I mean, their communication, I think they were too nervous. Their communication looked a bit off. But ID was not that nervous because ID, they just only needed one win and they should be through. Although they should feel a bit scared as well because other they will lose a lot of tiebreak situations. So ID 4-3 against, and then HLV went to the tiebreaker. HLV 3-3, and HLV was leading in caps and hit points at one point, only for I to make a really good push and HLV really unable to consolidate. And that sent ID through to the top 4. And that means the final table will look like this now. And you miss a lot of things, Totti. Tonight was probably the best night you could have ever imagined for top 4 fights. And here we go. This is the final table. So close. There we go. What a roller coaster asking for tonight, and so many great matches, so many highlights that I could crop and do a good montage on. Thank you for subscribing, Totti. And I have to say that is just amazingly exciting. What more can you say about this? This is just really great performance. No more words. I pretty much have concluded what has happened tonight. It was so super close. It went down to the wire. Our games have all ended in tiebreakers. And that was huge show. Just we can't ask for more, for much for an even tougher top four fight here. My gosh, and I think I'm going to end the stream soon because I have to acknowledge I will be back. EU server, I'll be back. The keys and stuff I'll explain 15 minutes prior to the start of the game. So lots of amazing stuff that happened tonight. Asia server really entertained us with how close the top 4 has been. And before we end, we're just going to inquire Thomas Peterson about the prediction for the messages we were seeing. So just once again, I'll refer back to it is before the round 13. And after that, I will go away and take a break. Thank you. Just tonight is going to be another shouty stream, but tomorrow it will be a bit of a comfort stream then, because we know that everything has been settled, and it's merely training matches for those clans. And ID against GV. GV will be bowing out of this season. I mean, they tried really hard. They won 4 games in the second round, second stage. Almost made it to the top 4, but it was not enough in the end. They couldn't make a comeback in the end, which is really sad. But they have made a valiant effort, I can say. Asia clans, I think there is still a lot to improve on, I think. But you've given us some really entertaining stuff. So for now, just have a good evening for you all, and tomorrow just just enjoy your games. Just some good training remaining for you also.
Family I used to have. I feel like everything's so different now. Sitting by the fire as we'd watch the flames burn out. I miss the days I wasn't afraid. Now I always have my guard up. Hands on my face, I learned to cope with the pain. I know that people think I'm trying to get attention, but in reality I'm trying to send a message. I know there's kids out there that are going through the same thing, and if you're one of them, I hope to help your suffering. Just know it will get better.
I got the wrong maps actually. No. Oh yeah, I've got the wrong map. Sorry. Wrong set of maps. No, no more. All the matches have ended, so my stream will end soon. I'm just going to regenerate what's going to be predicted by Mapbox, and then we'll just end here. That was such a night. I can't ask for more, to be honest with you. That's we rarely see how close those top 4 fights has been, especially when we are talking about a lot of situations. How the tiebreaks could align. I really can't really ask for more about that. Usually it just ends in disappointment or just very anticlimactic and not a lot of Okay, so I'm just going to do this first because I got the wrong maps for my first generation. This will not change any outcome. Okay, good. That will happen in the other stream, not this stream, but in the other stream. I'm not doing it now because I need to have lunch. There we go. 4th grade for GV. Now I'm just going to set everything up. We can see Thomas Peterson, no, Mapbox, the final prediction here. Okay, so Mapbox predicted the remaining. So Mapbox predicted Feast to win GB 4-2, EA to barely lose to RM 3-4, and then HLV to barely lose to ID 3-4. That's exactly the scoreline we predicted. And thank you for joining, Totsi. And E7 to win Ho 4-3, which wasn't the case in the end. So thank you all for watching my stream, and has been fun, has been exciting, entertaining to watch how close the top 4. Well, let's see if it's the same for the E server. It's still going to be very close, I have to admit. We'll follow Loka tonight, so first we will follow Loka versus Raid, and then Loka versus APA. I think Loka versus APA will probably be the most important one, and finally APA versus Gems. Another important win. We will see whether APA will get top 4 in the end. But Asia server definitely doesn't disappoint us tonight. And well done to all clans tonight here playing. You've played really hard. You've given everything. Just enjoy evening and have a good sleep. Tomorrow, just have fun. Thank you for the entertainment. Thank you very much. And thank you all for watching this stream. Hope you're as entertained as I am. For now, just